Good evening, everyone. My name is Neil Gouveia. I'm the Associate Director of Alumni Engagement in the Brooklyn campus. I welcome you all to tonight's mentorship webinar. I'm also joined by my colleague, Allison Schmidt. She's the Assistant Director of Alumni Engagement in the Long Island campus. Before we get started, here are a few house rules. Participants are automatically muted to ensure that panelists are able to present without interruption. Keep in mind that the webinar is recorded, and also feel free to ask questions via the chat or the Q&A feature. Okay, so we will be looking out for your questions throughout the webinar. Okay, so January is National Mentor Month. It was first launched in 2002 by Mentor National and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. National Mentoring Month focuses on the need for mentors, as well as how individuals, businesses, government agencies, schools, faith communities, and nonprofits can work together to increase the number of mentors to help ensure positive outcomes for young people. Here at St. Joseph's College, we recently launched SJCNY Connect. This exciting new platform allows alumni to engage, exchange, and empower with each other. In addition to expanding your professional network, it allows access to job opportunities, and the platform also allows alumni to sign up for our brand new mentorship program, SJC Mentor. Later in the program, Allison will give a demonstration on how the platform works. Tonight, we are joined by two fantastic speakers. Each of them have extensive mentoring experience in various capacities. Our first speaker is Kenneth Roche. Ken is a licensed mental health counselor who owns and operates South Shore Mental Health Counseling Services. He graduated from St. Joseph's College with a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology in 2003. Prior to attending St. Joseph's College, Ken was an accomplished member of the Suffolk County Police Department. Inspired by his professors and also his wife that he met at SJC, Ken furthered his education by receiving a Master of Arts in Mental Health Counseling from Adelphi University in 2008. He currently serves in both capacities with the Suffolk County Police Department and as well as a director and therapeutic counselor for South Shore Mental Health Counseling Services. Busy guy. In these roles, Ken works each day to help people create a better future for themselves. Ken has also served as a mentor for SJC students since 2012, and he still continues to keep in touch with his mentees today. Ken is now going to share some essential tips for a healthy mentoring relationship. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, Neil. Allison, thank you. I'm excited to be here and to share some of my mentoring tips and my mentoring experiences over the past just about 8 years now. So first and foremost, it's important to establish and maintain two-sided communication. And this is what really gets the mentor-mentee relationship off the ground. It starts to develop a rapport between the two sides, which will hopefully assist the mentee in accomplishing his or her goals. For goals, you want to develop goals and set expectations for the mentee-mentor relationships. This includes goals and expectations that are reasonable on both sides, and also we want to work together to develop goals that are attainable and sometimes, if necessary, repeatable. We want to foster a climate that facilitates an open exchange of ideas. Really, the key to mentoring is communication. If the mentee doesn't feel comfortable approaching his or her mentor, then how much of a gain is the mentee going to get out of this program and the mentor-mentee relationship? So the way I like to do it is be open, be reachable, be understanding, and just communicate, and also listen. Listen on the mentor's part. Listening is key. The mentor has to be willing to understand where the mentee is coming from and what goals or desires the mentee has and what they would like to accomplish. I'd like to share a story that I was just sharing with the panel before we started the webinar, and within the last hour, I've been mentoring tonight somebody who I started mentoring at St. Joe's when she was an undergrad student 2 years ago. And she's taken a couple different directions in her academic and professional careers. And she's decided to switch it up a little bit and apply to a different grad school program. So about a half hour before the webinar started, she was sending me some messages and emails about helping her write her and develop her personal statement in order to apply for this graduate program. So I continue to actively participate in this mentoring program, which I think is a wonderful thing that we have for everyone here at St. Joseph's, both active, current students and alumni alike. Respect each other's time, boundaries, ideas, and opinions. Everybody has opinions and ideas, and they might be divergent or they might be convergent. So we want to work together to make sure that we're both on the same page and that we have an understanding of each other and of each other's ideas, opinions, and goals. Maintain an attitude that is non-judgmental by both mentor and mentee. Hey, we're not perfect. Sometimes we misunderstand or misperceive or misconstrue what the other side is saying. So we have to clarify at times and just communicate. And my last tip is active participation. The success or failure of a mentoring program works two ways. It's got to be a two-sided, like I said in tip number one, two-sided communication. This also requires two-sided participation. The mentor should not work harder than the mentee or vice versa. If they are, then that's a problem or an issue or concern that needs to be addressed with an academic advisor or an alumni coordinator or alumni director. But active participation really works. It helps. And that's it.
Great. Thank you so much, Ken, for that those insightful tips.
You're welcome.
Right now, we are going to have our first poll. The first question is, we're going to ask you, have anyone here in the webinar, have you ever had a mentor? A prompt is going to pop up on the screen, and all you have to do is just hit yes or no, and we will give the results a little bit later during the program. So thank you. Okay. So our next speaker is Ayana Kone. Ayana is an adjunct professor at CUNY schools. She has spent the last 25 years in education and business. She is currently shifting her career to teaching and education full-time. Ayana has worked in advertising, private and public schools, nonprofit organizations, and 3 top 15 banks in the world. Ayana is a wife and mother of twin boys and is working on her PhD in education with an emphasis on organizational leadership. Ayana is also an active member, an active mentor rather, and also the vice president of the Brooklyn Board Alumni Association. Being this busy, she would not have it any other way. Welcome, Ayana.
Thank you. And I am also, like Ken, I met my husband at St. Joseph's.
Good.
Yeah, we have that definitely in common. Well, I'll get right to my tips. So first, being open and honest about past work experiences. This is especially essential because every time I had to talk to someone, it was usually regarding my feelings or my, what is this like for work or how am I going to be at work? I always wanted to make sure I kept everything as general as possible when it came to this. I said exactly what I had to go through and then what I saw around me. I made sure that if there was any special certifications or anything like that, depending on the role or the job that I was in, I let the mentee know that and said, if you want to go further in this career, here are some of the things that you need to keep going. Sometimes it's just getting to know the job and being the best at it and finding your way to working up. And sometimes it's a certification. And I would give any tips or info on stress levels of different parts of the people that had to work in certain jobs. So if I was a lower level and my boss was higher level, what the stress level looked like, depending on the type of job. So for nonprofit, to me, it was more stressful because it's one person usually doing 5 roles due to budget constraints, things like that. Whereas in banking, it was a little bit less stressful because for every type of job, there was a role. Things weren't all together in one. For number 2, be sure to give the correct access times for connecting with you. And if you have to change the time, give advance notice. Everyone's time is precious. And the more you work out for yourself, your timing, you actually start to help them with their timing. sometimes they mimic what you do as you're mentoring them. So if I was saying, hey, I can meet you between 5 and 6, I'd really try to be available. And then in turn, hopefully they would do the same for myself or for anyone else. Because sometimes you have to introduce them to other people to help them network. So that was definitely a thing. If they knew I was going to be on time or upfront with what I was going to do with my time, I would expect that in return, especially if I was helping them network with someone. And then number 3, it definitely goes into this. When you connect your mentee with a colleague for a possible internship or meeting, always follow up with both parties. That is huge. You know, you're getting feedback from your mentee, you're getting feedback from the person you introduced them to, and then you can see about their connection, how to expand it or not expand it, hopefully expand it. But sometimes it's just not a good fit, and you have to be able to make sure you connect with both of them to keep everything going and flowing how it's supposed to. I would say for number 4, the actual wording says stay in the moment when having time with your mentee. It's completely true. Being present is the most important part of the conversation. You know, you may be the only one that provides that support to them. And on top of that, you actively listening, especially like what Ken said, actively listening, you never know if you're thinking one thing as they're talking, it may lead you completely somewhere else, or you may know someone in that field that you didn't even realize, you know, but as they were talking, you're thinking, you're actively listening, it can trigger something else that can be extremely helpful for them in the long run. And for number 5, only do it if you're genuinely interested in helping to build up others. I would love to say, everybody just go do it, but you can't do something unless you really love it. Ultimately, that's a big deal. Unless you really care about what you're doing, you will never give 100%. And the people that are actually looking for mentors, sometimes you're replacing someone that they don't have in their life. Sometimes you're the only one that's in that field that they feel comfortable enough to even ask a question to. And sometimes it's just what they need at that moment. So if you really think about what you have going on in your life right now, and if you think you could have time at least once a month to help someone, or a little bit more, usually it's a little bit more, I would definitely say use it to do something you love, and hopefully mentoring would be a good fit for you. I want to close by saying, being a minority in a lot of different fields, sometimes I'm the first one or the second one, and I've had great mentors for myself to help me through some of the difficult places that I've been in, especially as the only minority or the second minority. I have one story where there was a girl named Alana who was in a position for about, I want to say 7-8 years, and my name is Ayana. But as soon as I got in and I was the only other minority, everybody called me Alana, everybody called her Ayana. And it was just so funny that she was there 7 years. I should be Alana, she should be Alana. And they completely switched our names, and, you know, we had to go through that. So sometimes I tell that to the mentee. I have 3 mentees that I've connected with in the last 3 years. And that's one of my stories. Like, your name is going to be messed up. You have all these things going on, you know, just try to be the best you could be. And for someone that was there for 7 years, I took it as a compliment every time they called her. They called me my name and called her, you know, my name and my name, her name, and whatever. It was just absolutely amazing, because for her to be there 7 years, working hard, completely dependable, I think they thought the same of me. And to me, that was like a good thing. I didn't take it as a bad thing. So I always want to let people know, if you can help build up someone else or pave the way for someone else, so to speak, I think you'll find it more empowering than you ever thought you could be. And it sometimes boosts your ego a little bit too, if you want to say that. But mentoring is the most amazing thing I've done. And I think out of everything else besides having twin boys, that's like right up there, number 2. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Ayana. That was rather interesting. Thanks for the tips. And personalizing it as well. We also right now have the results for the poll. So have you, our attendees, 42% of our attendees have had a poll, followed 58% has not. So that gives me, so Ken and Ayana, that lets me to think that, is it ever, here's a question I want to throw to both of you actually. Is it ever too late to have a mentor?
I don't think so. It's
Not at all.
never too late to do anything, really.
Mhm. Right. Same sentiment too, Ayana?
Completely my sentiments. It's
Mhm.
never too late. I'm completely starting a whole new career, mid 40s, and looking for other mentors that are leaving. Some are leaving, retiring. They're taking me on under my wing as teachers, giving me the details, the ropes. It's never too late.
Right. It's a lifelong process, I guess.
It is.
The learning component, I
If I
guess.
could share a personal story with
Absolutely.
never too late to do anything. I consider myself a non-traditional student, having gone back to St. Joseph's, later on. I had already completed active duty time in the military, in the Coast Guard, and had already been in my 8th year with the police department when I decided to go back and finish my undergrad. So everything has kind of changed for me in a non-traditional manner. Even, so now this counseling venture is kind of a third career for me. So is it too late? Never. And one never knows what the future holds.
True. Absolutely. And this is another question for both of you. Who was your first mentor, the first person that you looked up to, the first person that guided, that showed you the right path, or was able to like uplift you and build up your self-esteem?
Well, that's a good question. In what field?
Just in general,
general.
yeah. Who was the first person in your life that you would consider a mentor that you first came in contact with?
I mean, I've had many mentors in my different careers and different fields that I've been involved in, but I have to say a couple of my professors at St. Joseph's College. There was one, he was my thesis advisor, Dr. Giuliani, and I had taken a few classes with him, and then I did both thesis 1 and thesis 2 with him, and I graduated, went to Adelphi, and then as I was getting licensed and working towards opening a private practice, I reached out to him again as a mentor. So he's been a mentor in the academic setting and also in the professional setting.
Right. And for many of us, it's I think it's safe to say that teachers might be some of our earliest mentors, right?
Yes.
Right. Great. Oh, I am glad to have you back. Oh yeah. If you could share with us, who was your first mentor, that the first person you sort of looked up to?
Oh, her name was Miss Espinal, and she was a great mentor. She mentored people for working with trafficking cases. So I worked with a couple of banks, and I saw her again. So about 15 years ago, I started going into banking off and on. And she said to me, if you ever want to look at something that's really, really fulfilling, you love doing things with your heart and soul, look into banking, compliance. And I didn't take her seriously, but I, listened to her, learned from her. And then my last bank that I worked at, I saw her again. And that was the field that I actually wound up in, compliance and banking, and working on trafficking cases, human trafficking, wildlife trafficking. And it was the most rewarding part about working in the banking. And I knew I should have taken that info from her 15 years ago. But she
So
was the
it all
best
came
mentor
full
I had.
circle.
It came full circle. And
Full
now even
circle.
when I teach, I talk about wildlife trafficking and things like that to the students, about being ethically responsible when working, especially if they plan on going in corporate, trying to do the right thing. And I got that from her.
That's great. Very motivating and inspiring. As I mentioned earlier, when we began this webinar, we have a new platform called SJCNY Connect. And this platform offers many features. And one of these features including access to the mentorship program. So I'm going to ask my colleague, Allison, to show everyone a demonstration of how the process is when it comes to logging in and accessing these features. So Allison, take it away when you're ready.
Well, thanks, Ken and Ayana, for being here. It's great hearing about your experiences and your tips. So I'm just going to share my screen so you all can actually see the platform and what I'm going to talk about. So this would be the home screen of SJCNY Connect when you first log in. And as Neil mentioned, SJCNY Connect is our new virtual platform for you all to engage, exchange, and empower with the alumni network, as well as students, faculty, and staff. So our team at this point in time is starting to roll out to students. And we hope to have a few more on by the end of February so we can really get the mentoring program in full swing. again, like I said, this is what you would see when you log in. And this is a news feed. So similar to, you know, Facebook or LinkedIn, the alumni engagement team posts in this pretty much every day. And we post articles. So Neil posted an article today about a trivia event we had last weekend. And we post events. And we have an alumna right here asking us a question. So for example, we advertised an event last week. Scrolling back up and going to the left, we have a directory right here where you can see all that are registered on the platform and what they do, where they currently are located, the year that they graduated, and different things like that. This is where you will also see if someone's willing to help. And that's important to keep in mind for the mentoring program, which I will talk about a little bit later. We have our mentoring tab, like I said, so you can search by industry. You can see how many people are available by industry and also the location of where they work. We also have a job board, which is integrated with Handshake, and we also have the opportunity for alumni themselves to post jobs. We have a photo section, so we will be updating, you know, some of our virtual screenshots at some point, possibly soon, so you could see what we've kind of done virtually. But these are some pictures of some last events that we've had in the past. Then we also have our group section. And right now on the platform, we hold our accounting program, an ACES program, group, Brooklyn Bears Athletics, Career Development, Chapel Players, and Long Island Golden Eagles Athletics. But there's a lot of opportunity here for people of these different affinities to connect. So if you're interested in having possibly another group, say student government, then go ahead, feel free and reach out to us and we could possibly get that one going. But this is just an opportunity for alumni, students, faculty, and staff to have an intimate conversation within these groups. And then we have two more tabs. We also have an events tab. So we list all our events right in here. This is what you all are currently on right now, the SJC mentorship webinar, but we have a list of our events for the rest of the semester in here, and we will be continuing to add that. And then lastly, we have our resources section where we hold our Long Island and Brooklyn yearbooks that are online virtually, and we have a little bit more information about the platform in terms of guidelines, the SJCNY magazine, alumni video vault, and grant information application. But what I want to specifically highlight in resources is the SJC Mentor Program. So within this, I have a few PDFs set up. This is a description of the program, kind of just outlining a little bit about mentoring, re-echoing really what Ken and Ayana have said about mentorship and why it's so important, and you know, the importance of scheduling a meeting, being on time, and doing what's most convenient for the pair. And then we have it broken down by mentor responsibilities as well as mentee responsibilities. And in this SJC mentor relationship on the platform, the mentee is going to really be the driving force. So they'll be the ones looking for alumni that have opted in, willing to help, and actually direct message them and communicate with them that way until the relationship gets going. So we have this listed right here for you. And then the different guidelines once you begin working with the mentor. You could take the conversation off the platform in order for you to virtually meet, whether it be on Zoom, FaceTime, Google Meet, whatever works for you at this point. But that does sum up our platform. There is a lot of different features to it. So I hope you all check it out and sign up after seeing this tonight. Thanks, Neil.
Great, thank you, Allison. So everyone, you can see this is like a one-stop shop for everything, really in terms of professional networking for our alums from St. Joseph's. So I encourage all of you who have not signed up yet to check it out. You can always reach Allison or myself if you have any issues regarding getting yourself logged in. And it's really just a platform that consolidates so many different resources that's going to be beneficial and helpful. on a professional level. Okay, at this time now, we have our second poll question coming up. And the second poll question that we're going to be asking right now. So after hearing Ken and Ayana speak about their mentorship experience, how likely are you, would you seek out a request a mentor on SJCNY Connect? So again, very likely, someone likely, not likely at all. Just hit one of those options, and then we will get the results and we will reveal them in a bit. Okay, thank you. All right, let's move along right now. So, here, what we're gonna do right now is I want to ask a few questions to Ken and both Ayana, of course. And one question that I've always been curious about people who have leadership roles as yourselves, what's the most effective daily habit that you have, that you practice each day and it helps you get through, kickstarts the day?
Well, making a plan, having a daily agenda. What helps me, and there's a couple of ways I do it. I used to write out lists, but that got kind of daunting sometimes. Now I have a work list app, and there are things that I put in each day or each week that I'd like to accomplish. So I try to set long-term and short-term goals. Long-term could be in the span of a week or two, and short-term could be broken down weekly or daily. But I just try to make a plan every day and try to accomplish 1 or 2 goals, if not even more, of the things that I'd like to on my list. And just in the morning before I start the day, I do a quick review. And if I have to, I can edit them as well, because goals should be dynamic. We have to realize that things change and goals should change, and to not become so rigidly stuck in any particular goal set.
Good point.
I agree 100%. My big thing is a list, and now it's on, I use notes sometimes. So I have this one list that's my between 40s and 50s list, and that's just things I want to see, try and do before I turn 50. And that's just one general list, but then there's the daily list of get stuff for the kids, do this, do that, and then I try to make sure I do something just for myself. Today is the day I am getting that ice cream I wanted to try. Today's the day I'm watching that Netflix show. Today's the day, just one thing just for me, not the 50,000 things I have going on. So I make sure I started incorporating that when I turned about 35. Just something for me, because you can get lost in doing everything else for everyone else, but you have to remember yourself. And that's the way you grow. And then when you're mentoring someone else, if you're constantly growing and trying new things and taking care of yourself, hopefully that'll trickle down to someone else. So that's been huge for me.
Yeah, I imagine like when you have a checklist and you check off that list, it's a sense of accomplishment, right? It motivates you to keep going to the next thing on the list is when you're able to scratch one off. So
Definitely is.
The checklist component, absolutely. Ken, you work in law enforcement, so you've come in contact, I'm pretty sure, with young people who have made, some mistakes, silly mistakes in life. And I'm a firm believer in that people, everyone deserves a second chance. So tell me a little bit about some of the people, the young, the youth that you've helped out along the way in your profession, and how you've applied your mentorship skills to help them back on the right path.
Sure, yeah. I mean, in my 35th year of law enforcement, it's definitely changed. I've changed. I've grown both personally and professionally, and I've tried to grow with the times. So, I've spanned in law enforcement several generations of folks and ways that people look at things, and that you have to be, apply some sort of flexibility. But over the years, I've encountered people who, by poor choice, have made the wrong decisions. And what I've tried to do is, for people that haven't committed serious or grievous infractions, you can use some discretion and apply some mentorship, kind of speak with people, see where they're at, try to meet them where they're at, and try to steer them down the right path. And functioning, before I even thought of that I would be a counselor, functioning as a counselor, because police officers wear so many different hats. We're not just enforcers of the law. We try to help, mentor, and counsel and guide people as well in life. So it helped me embark on my counseling field. And then as a counselor, knowing people and knowing how to deal with people on different levels, the counseling has transferred over to law enforcement. So everything is dovetailed nicely from two separate careers into kind of one path, if that answers your question.
Yeah, it's sort of like transition from one into the other.
Yeah, seamlessly.
Yeah. Definitely. That's great. This is so for both of you, you know, we've all like made mistakes in the past and so forth and everything. How have you, what are some of maybe just give one or two example, maybe one if that is, of a hard lesson that you've had to learn along the way in the past? Like one thing, you know, though, this I had to go through this to get to this stage in my life.
I think it was for me when I left one field and I got my degrees from St. Joseph's. So I was feeling myself. I have an MBA and I have a master's. I'm going to go supervise people, but I did it in a completely different field that I knew nothing about. So I didn't start from the bottom and learn the ways or, you know, have people to guide me. I just went in there and I had to tell people what to do. And I remember going, I don't know what they do. I've never done what they do. How am I going to tell them what to do? So, you know, I had to drop the ego and say, okay, I have to sit with everybody, learn their jobs, and then try to manage from there. So it took me 4 or 5 months longer by taking a month to learn everyone's jobs to figure out how I was going to actually lead them. So that ego, that was a big thing. And I tell anybody, you know, you may get this and you may get that degree when you're done, but please try to learn every part of what you're going to do before you start to do it. That was a big one.
But you have to, in order for the people you're going to work with, you have to see it from their perspective as well to really get
they're
a full
the
grasp of
subject
what's
matter experts. Yep, they're the
Right.
subject matter experts. I also had to learn how to implement what we were taught about putting a monkey on your back, so to speak. So they would come to me with a problem, but I've never done your job. So you should come with a possible solution, at least one, so that then from there, I can help you figure out how to navigate it. But I couldn't
Right.
even do that when I had just ego, nothing else to go on for that job. So that was a big deal. I had all these great management terms to use, these skills, and I had no idea how to apply it in a completely different type of setting that I was never in before. So once I dropped the ego, got to know everything about everybody, then I could start putting in those degree skills, so to speak.
Right. That's why you learn by experience.
Definitely do.
And how about yourself? Any hard lessons along the way?
Yeah, growing pains in everything I've done. Kind of echoing what Ayana said is that, you know, when you're put into a new position or you're advanced into a different rank, you think you know everything, or you assume that you know everything, but you really don't. And I've learned that you have to, never forget where you came from. We've all started out somewhere, and most of us have started out at the bottom. So we've all grown, we've all worked our way up the ladder, worked our way through the ranks, but you always have to be mindful of the others who are coming up behind you. And never ask anybody to do something that you won't take on yourself is a big thing. And I do that now because as a mental health counselor, I supervise not only interns who are in graduate programs, but also pre-licensed professionals. So after internship in the mental health counseling field, in order to get licensed, you have to complete 3,000 hours of supervised clinical time. And I do that as well. And so I watched the students grow from intern to graduate to postgraduate, and how their roles change or how they approach counseling. An intern, a counseling intern is very different than a postgraduate intern because their focus is different. So you have to put yourself back to what it was like being a graduate student and then a postgraduate professional. So you have to flip-flop back and forth and just just keep an open mind as you're encountering people along their career path and meeting them where they're at.
Absolutely, definitely good advice there. For me, I think one thing I've learned along the way is that I think this comes with age. Maybe you guys both agree with this. Is that the importance of being transparent, because sometimes we assume that people are mind readers. So it's really important to just be transparent with each other, and that's also in relation to a mentorship relationship as well. Having that transparency between a mentor and mentee, so that way, because communication is so key in making sure that it's a healthy relationship. So.
That's true. I've never used so many apps in my life until I got mentees. It was like, wait, what? I have to find you and where and how do and I should watch and because it's 10 different apps and this and that, but I'm constantly learning from them and they're hilarious and amazing.
Good point, Ayana. It just shows you that the mentor could learn from the mentee and vice versa as well, too. That's
big time.
Big time, right? It's great. We're also going to be we're still taking questions from anyone who has any questions for our speakers. At this time, I will ask for the results of our poll that we just took. And the question was, how likely are you to seek out a mentor on SJCNY Connect? So the results are in, very likely, 86%, and somewhat likely, 14%. So you guys are doing actually a pretty good job, actually, with the convincing of our attendees to sign up to as well. So also, you know, so what is a potential challenge that can affect a mentor relationship? Ayana, you mentioned earlier that sometimes you just don't know what's going on in the home, right? A mentee may be having some personal issues going on, and the mentor is like their own escape from some harsh realities that they're dealing with as well. Is that, have you been in a situation like that where you've had a mentee dealing with some stuff, personal stuff in the home?
That's actually how I met her. I met her at a SJC event and we just connected and I told her, you know, you're beautiful, right? You're smart, you're all of these things. Because she kept putting her head down for everything I said. And I'm like, what's going on? And so I'm talking to her and then she starts crying. I'm like, oh, I don't want you to cry. I just want you to know you're beautiful. You should keep your head up. You're in college, whatever else you have going on, you know, you'll be okay. Her mom walked up and said, yeah, we've been through a lot. She actually is here at SJC to go into criminal stuff and law stuff because she's been through some things and now she wants to help other people later. I said, you know, you can't help people till you help yourself. And that's how we started talking. So she actually had a really, really hard story. And she was going to St. Joe's just to give back to other people so they wouldn't have to go through what she went through. And I thought that was so interesting, but she still had to work on herself. So that was my one. And she just graduated last year during COVID. So she's doing really good. And I'm super proud of her, but that was really hard to start off knowing that she had issues she never addressed, but she knew she was going to help other people. So that was great. A big challenge. Yeah, and she graduated during COVID. I was like, this girl is awesome.
Right. I mean, to be dealing with those issues and then also graduate in a time, 2020 as well, that just shows you that, you know, she's resilient, you know, so kudos to her. That's awesome. How about yourself, Ken?
I had to look at myself too. I had to look at myself just to make sure I had that self-esteem myself. Like, do I have the self-esteem to help her with her self-esteem?
Right. Ken, have you dealt with have you had any mentees that, you know, this was it might be a challenge because they're going through a particular situation? And what do you say, how would you go about dealing with that? Is it because sometimes, like you said, they don't want to like reveal too much and you don't want to like cross the boundaries. So you sort of like have to just be delicate in terms of how you approach it. Is there a particular way to approach the situation where a mentee is going through something personal as well?
Yes. It's funny you bring this up because I've experienced both ends of the spectrum with a mentee wanting to disclose. I did have somebody a few years ago and I felt that she was really extending those boundaries that we had put in place. So what I did is I reached out to the mentor coordinator, and we kind of worked through things together. But what I did was, because I felt it was beyond my scope as just a professional mentor, where it was going more along the lines of being a counselor for this individual, that I engaged alumni staff. And you know, I wanted a little bit more than one-on-one. I wanted to engage a couple of different people. And we got this person set on the straight path to get what they needed to get, aside from the professional mentoring. But a lot of times as mentors, you know, we do make up for some of the shortcomings that people have. We become surrogates in some way, shape, or form. And we provide validation, we provide reassurance, we provide a lot of positive reinforcement for those folks. So sometimes it's a fine line to try to get the person to get what they want to from the mentoring program. And some folks come into it with an idea in their head that, okay, I'm looking for a professional mentor, but it kind of goes into a personal mentor as well. And that's okay, as long as everybody stays within those boundaries that is set in place. And then it can work out fine. And then if we have to, we do what we do in the professional settings. We refer out. You know, hey, I want you to go back to the alumni coordinator or the mentoring coordinator, and let's see what other avenues or resources we can engage here.
Definitely good information there. So, you know, it sounds to me that, you know, mentoring definitely brings joy to both of you. You know, it's something it's very fulfilling, and that's such a important key factor when you take on this this journey to become a mentor, a passion for it, right? Because I know, Ayana, you've been very vocal about how important it is to be passionate about, you know, about taking on this role. And I guess it's safe to say that you would not recommend it to anyone if they're not passionate about it, because if they're not ready to commit, right?
Yes.
Very true.
Okay, great. So here's a question. We have a question from one of our guests. Do you have any books, podcasts, or any other resources that you would recommend to read or watch to help with with professional development? Is there like a favorite? How about this? How about a book of inspiration that you've read that's been, you know, that's helped you out?
This one's called 3 Magic Words.
Okay.
Ulysses, and it's also available. You can like listen to it as you're walking around. It's very, very positive. It's all about 3 magic words, you know, basically whatever words you need to hear to take care of yourself. This one is definitely one I've given to every student that's asked me for a book outside of business stuff, because I teach business courses. But this was one. Even the late great Nipsey Hussle, the rapper that was killed, he used that to help him turn himself around. And that was one of his very inspirational books. And I couldn't believe they found that tape that he was talking about the book. And he was just walking around listening to it too. So even if you have time to read, or you can just hear it in your car, that is one that's available via podcast. It's called 3 Magic Words.
That right at your disposal right there.
Oh, I don't play. Yeah.
Hey, Ken, is there someone that you, a motivational speaker that you look up to that's inspired you? Or
off the top of my head, I can't think of any. I mean, I do have some people I look up to in the field of psychology, you know, over the years, but nothing that for general mentorship.
Got it. I guess we, you know, if anyone is seeking out that, you know, that person, you know, for some leadership, I guess they could start at home, you know, hopefully, a parent figure could, you know, you would like to think that, it starts from the home, right? With the parents to start, to give that, that motivation and that inspiration. So, but, you know, as we've mentioned, not everyone has that luxury, you know, as well.
No, but I tell them to find it in an aunt or a cousin. Use the different sides of different people. So I say, if you have that aunt that's always yelling at somebody, use that aunt when you want to fight for something for yourself. Channel her. You know, there's an uncle that's always dancing. Use him when you just want to let go and you want to de-stress. You know, think of him, think of that. Think of Christmas time when, you know, you want to do something warm and heartening. What do you do for your family? So even if it's not someone specific, at least you can try to channel from good things you've seen around you.
Absolutely. And it just takes one person to have that impact.
You know, Neil, now that, you know, I was thinking while Ayana was speaking and while you were speaking, I know you mentioned, and everybody probably heard with my law enforcement career, but I also served in the Coast Guard for a total of 33.5 years, both active and reserve. Active before I became a police officer, and then I was recalled to active duty after the attacks of 9/11. And I rose up through the enlisted ranks to the command level. And one of our senior enlisted used to throw out these weekly tips, weekly leadership tips. And one of the people there, it was a short quote, but it stuck with me, and it stuck with me till today, was Alex Haley. Now, everybody is familiar with Alex Haley from the book and the movie Roots, but Alex Haley was a photojournalist in the United States Coast Guard. And his favorite line was, "Find the good and praise it." So I've always practiced that when mentoring people, supervising people. Find the good in everybody and praise it. Really draw on their strengths. And everybody has good points. Everybody has weak points. And if we can pull those weak points and bring them into strong points. So what is the good in every individual that we encounter? So it's find the good and praise it. And that stuck with me till today.
And that's core in teaching also.
Excellent,
that is one of the things we learn.
Yeah.
Excellent quote.
Yeah.
We learn that in teaching. If you have a student who may be really negative all the time, you know, you may be the only one to say the one thing he did good that day. So you're absolutely right, Ken.
Find the good and praise it. Oh, I'm sure that's going to stick with many of us this evening. Thanks for sharing that. And that just applies to everyone basically who may be going through something or having, you know, a type of issue as well. You know, there's something good in all of us. Well,
Absolutely. Yeah.
excellent. Okay, Ayana and Ken, thank you so much for speaking tonight. You both provide a lot of insightful information in regards to mentoring. To our attendees, thank you for your time. Please look out for an email that will contain links to SJCNY Connect and upcoming events. And speaking of events, we have an exciting virtual trivia event coming up on Thursday, February 18th. It's going to be Brooklyn versus Long Island. So I hope to see many of you there. It's going to be really a fun event. So Ken and Ayana, if you're both able to attend, enjoying, please sign up. And it's going to be a fun night. Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight and sharing your insight on mentoring.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Great.
Definitely.
Everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone, and take care.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.